right, welcome in. It's 8:05 in the morning and a glorious day there, Russell P.
I'm happy that it's glorious today because every day you say it's going to be a beautiful day, even when it's nasty outside.
It's a beautiful day.
So today it actually is what you claim it is.
That's why I went to glorious.
You're normally
It
making stuff
upgraded
up.
from perfect. Welcome into the studio. We got David Self from Grabow, of course. Give it up for Grabow.
Oh, the applause.
My
the
favorite
applause.
time of the week.
Good morning,
This one,
gentlemen.
Grabow's here. Good to see you, Dave.
Man, looking young after that kayak trip.
Oh, man, I tell you what. I had fun. A friend of mine went with me, and he took his little two-man craft, and he floated around the lake with his trailer while I was paddling, and he took some video.
Oh,
I don't want to share it with anybody because the audio is just disturbing.
Fat guy in a little boat.
I heard that all day long. It was messing up my concentration.
Everybody's got to be a comedian.
Everybody's a funny guy.
Everybody's got to be a comedian. We're joined also by Robert Hawthorne, who's been with us here
Robert.
on the show.
Yes,
Good
sir.
morning.
20 years of experience and a long list of certifications to back it up. Welcome back to the guys.
Well, thank you for having me.
Hey, man, we're happy to have you fellas here. Over the weekend, had the big gun collectors show out at the BJCC. Massive turnout for that event.
What, it was huge turnout.
Yeah.
And a lot of people walked around with weaponry that they were selling, looking to get valuations on them and that sort of thing, and a lot of purchases there
Sure.
as well.
So what I'm curious about, will anybody show up at Grabow Outdoors this week or next, maybe with something that either they got from the gun show this weekend, or maybe it's just an old family heirloom and they want to bring it in and maybe get it refurbished or something?
We see that a lot more and more here as the older generation, the World War II vets, Korean vets are passing away. Guns are coming out of closets from under beds. Beautiful antiques and treasures we thought were lost.
Yeah.
And one of the common things is they'll come in and go, what is this? And we can help them with that.
Yeah.
And one of the things I encourage, well, the other thing is they'll want to say, oh, it looks a little worn, let's get it refurbished. Or I encourage them to keep them in the condition they're in.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
most valuable that way. The other thing is write down the history of the gun.
That's a good idea.
I have my great-grandfather's shotgun. Dad gave it to me, and he wrote down the history. It was bought in Mobile for $13 at 1900. And he
Wow.
lists where it was used and things like that. That just adds another layer of depth and value to the gun personally.
So you probably don't want to bring in like a World War I rifle and say, hey, can you spray paint this orange? You
And-
want to keep it in the
Right.
original condition that it is. That's pretty cool. Because families, a lot of them, they have guns they've had for a long time, but do they ever come in, David, looking for ammo of, hey, I've got this gun, but I don't have any way to shoot it?
yeah. It's a lot of times, you get a gun that may not have been kept in the best condition. It may be a little rusted, a little corroded. You may not be able to read the barrel stamping. So we're trying to figure out what the caliber is, what exactly it is, or
Right.
contact the manufacturer, or just consult with other gun enthusiasts such as ourselves with a little history on the gun.
And I want to encourage people, as you guys will, I'm sure you're about to chime in on, but yeah, if you're not sure of the caliber, don't just throw rounds in there and start pulling the trigger. That's never a good idea, right?
Yes.
No.
If you don't know the caliber, don't just. Well, the 223 seems to slide in there kind of okay. Well, that doesn't mean pull the trigger, right?
Well, 9mm and a Makarov. They're both 9mm.
Yeah, a lot of difference, right?
We personally, I've seen that come in the store on a couple of occasions.
Have you?
Now, I'll tell you right now, I'm really bad of close enough. I've bought shoes. I'm a 12. It's an 11 and a half. Oh, it's close enough. I'm busting through those shoes. It's not. I'm so bad about, like close enough.
Yeah.
What would happen? What happens if you put in the wrong size, the wrong round?
One of the most common would be the 223 5.56.
Right.
It's like, oh, they're all ARs. The bullets look the same.
Yes.
What it comes down to is the rifling in the barrel.
Right.
Your barrel chamber pressures can be up to 3 times higher if you put a 5.56 and a 223.
I'm totally putting the wrong thing in there. if
Yeah,
they look
you
the
just-
same, it's over. I'm putting it in. What would happen? What would happen? I mean, would it blow my arm off or
You could have a catastrophic failure.
Yeah.
what?
So you're dealing with explosive.
See,
Yeah.
I got to talk to you guys. Jim,
Explosive.
you know me, buddy. Like you're a person who's technically it has technical expertise. You know things need to be exact.
Yes.
I'm winging it in life. This is not for me. I would just be a disaster.
That's why you got to count on Grabow.
Yeah.
I mean, Grabow's your go-to spot. And if you're not sure, then you go see my man Robert, and he'll straighten you out.
Let me give you an example of how off and how much of a loser I am. And we'll have Pete come on in here. He's fine. Come on in. Welcome in, Pete. We'll welcome him
Pete.
here in just a moment. But about being close enough. When I first traveled from Georgia to Birmingham to interview for the radio station job here 7 years ago, here's how lame I am. And I've told Jim this story. I was told that on the interstate, you're going to be on 20, and you're looking for I-59, so 2059. I knew that I'm looking for a 5 and a 9.
Yes.
And so I'm on my way here, and I see 459.
Right.
And I think, well,
That's it.
it's got a 5 and a 9 in it. It's close enough. That's got to get me where I'm going. I'm trying to get to Homewood. I end up in Bessemer. It's
Right.
no problem. But when it comes to guns, if I didn't know better, I would think if it's close enough, it's got to work. And that could be a deadly, dangerous mistake.
You know,
Yes.
even with your hunting calibers, I mean, there's a short mag, there's
Yep.
a compact mag, there's
Yep.
an ultra mag. There's, all the numerical denomination of the size of the caliber will be the same, but it's, it's kind of like on the other side of the butt,
Okay.
the comma. It's whether it be some type of magnum.
Well, because like in another area that I really enjoy is cooking, right? And in cooking, you make do with what's in the kitchen. So you can watch the Food Network. You know how it's supposed to be done. And then you realize you don't have those 17 spices they call for. You'll figure out something close enough. A close approximation is good enough. But it sounds like when it comes to weaponry, that's a poor decision.
Not a good option.
Yeah.
Not a good option.
And that making do carries over into reloading. Unfortunately, you'll have folks
Yes,
that go,
Lord have mercy.
I don't have that.
Put a little
48
more
round.
powder in it.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It's close enough,
Goodness.
but we're starting to carry reloading supplies. We'll have those coming soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's a good addition.
We're here
Speaking of a great addition.
They're a great addition. Grabow Outdoors.
Pete's here.
We've welcomed in David Self and Robert Hawthorne. Pete Buckwalter, welcome back to the show.
Good morning.
Good to see you,
We're
Pete.
happy to have you here. Certified NRA instructor since 1994. You've been doing this a long time.
Yes, sir, I sure have. I grew up with firearms in our family. We did some hunting and shooting when we were young. My father was a Marine, and safety was first. Anytime we were handling the firearms, that was the very first thing we want to talk about. We knew we didn't handle the firearms when Dad wasn't around.
Right.
They were stored in a case. We could see them through the glass, but
Sure.
we couldn't really touch them.
Yeah.
We knew that was not something that we wanted Dad to find out we were trying to do when he was not around.
No doubt.
But when we were with him, it was about safety and marksmanship.
Yeah.
Trigger press, sight alignment, taking your time, being very aware of what you're doing. But we grew up around them, and because of that, we were fairly comfortable around them. When we came around them in our normal life, it wasn't a surprise. It wasn't a mystery. We knew how to handle them, and we knew that it was a serious thing. You had to
Yes.
take your time, be very careful with it.
Big time. And, I think hunters get a good advantage in the safety aspects because if you had a mentor like your father, like my father, you don't movement behind bushes does not indicate shooting. You know what I mean? You don't shoot a target until you've identified that target, right? I mean, that's like 101, safety 101 in the woods, right?
That is one of the first 4 safety rules that we always talk about. And anytime we do any kind of course, this is
Yeah.
how we started out. And it doesn't matter if we're doing first-time shooters, military, police, experienced shooters. We have 4 rules. And the
Yeah.
first one is treat every firearm like it's loaded all the time.
Sure.
Expect it to be loaded.
Yeah.
You want to keep your finger off that trigger till you're ready to actually send that round down range at whatever you're shooting at.
Right.
You need to keep the gun pointed in a safe direction all the time, which means if you don't want to point it or poke a hole in it, don't
Yeah.
point the gun at it.
That's a good point.
And the one we were just talking about was knowing your target and what's beyond. You absolutely have to know what you're shooting at, where that round is going to stop, and what happens if you miss. Where's that round going?
Yeah.
Let's talk about some stereotypes when it comes to men, to guys. We don't like to read instructions. I'm not reading the instructions. I'm not asking for directions, and I'll figure it out myself. That is a poor approach when it comes to firearms. Is there any difficulty, and any of you guys are welcome to speak to this, of having to get guys to humble themselves? That if you really want to be talented and safe and an expert marksman, you first have to humble yourself and say, maybe there's stuff I don't know, but I want to get the right information. And once I have that right information, I want to put it into practice.
I think that's probably the first step, is realizing, hey, there are some things that I might not know.
Yeah.
I'm a pistol instructor. When somebody asks me questions about rifles, if I don't know it, I go find somebody who is that instructor, and take my time and answer very carefully. And again, we're dealing with firearms, so when you give information, you want to make sure you're giving them the correct information.
And a lot of times, I mean, Robert, we're taught wrong, right? Isn't that true?
We are. And
I mean, sometimes people, we've all experienced this. If you've been hunting a long time, you go hunting with somebody that you kind of halfway know, but you've never been hunting with them. And the first time you're in the woods with them, you're like, oh my God, I'm not going hunting with them again. Because the way they carry their weapon, the way they handle their weapon, you're like, wow. I mean, I was taught completely different from that. And I remember being a kid thinking that the people in the military were crazy, because my dad always taught us that we point our weapons to the ground. You know what I mean? We didn't have a parade rest where I was from. We didn't have that kind of, we didn't carry it on our shoulder like a soldier. We walked with it pointing towards the ground, right? And so I remember going hunting with people. So all people aren't on the same page. So this class is a brilliant idea to get a great, introduction to the way it's supposed to be done. So.
Yeah, this is a NRA First Steps Pistol Orientation Program, and it's set up basically for people that have either never shot or they've had a firearm but really have never trained with it, and they're interested in learning about safety and marksmanship and how the gun operates. We take them from this is the gun, this is the end, the bullet comes out, this is the grip, this is how you hold it, all the way to basic stance, sight alignment, everything like that. And it's all about safety, especially during this course. We encourage them, if they have their own firearm, to bring that with them. And obviously, as soon as they come in, we check everybody's firearms to make sure that they actually are unloaded, despite that they encourage us that they are. But this is set up to get people familiar with their firearms. They're going to learn about our 4 rules of safety, which we talked about. We're also going to take them to the range, and we're going to be there with them every step of the way while they fire possibly their first rounds.
Yeah, and it's okay to come if you don't have a weapon yet.
Well, we can work something out.
We have show them a weapon, let them look at some weapons as well. Now, the event we're talking about is April the 25th, correct?
28th. It's this Saturday.
Okay, well, that's coming up. That is coming up. Very good, and that's good to know. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., correct?
Yes, sir. It'll start at 10 o'clock. And we'll take a small break in the end of it to eat, and we'll go to the range and do some shooting in the afternoon. Be over about 2 o'clock.
That's awesome. And it comes with lunch, Russell P., so it's right down your alley.
I got to be involved.
It's it.
I got to be involved.
Baby,
Let's give out the number. We'll take a break. When we come back, I've got some questions about if there's new information as it comes to gun safety. I just went through a CPR class, and it seems like every 5, 10, 15 years, the rules change it a little bit. Yeah. And in other areas of maybe you were brought up one way, and now we have new information and new guidelines. And let's talk about what we need to know that might be new, even if gun ownership and gun safety isn't new to you. There may be something new for you to know. And I'll be happy to take your phone calls at 941-1011. We're enjoying our Tuesday conversation, as always, with Grabow Outdoors. You can find them in Fultondale, just right off the interstate. So go by and check them out, 265B. Follow Highway 31 North and look for them up there on the hill. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 till 6. Happy to see you and on the web at Grabow Outdoors. We are the guys, Superstation 101, WYDE.
Oh, your brain's got gravy on it.
It's just delicious. We're talking with Grabow Outdoors ahead of the event this weekend. The NRA First Steps Pistol Orientation this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend.
Now, space is limited, so we've only got a couple of spots left. If someone wants to register for this event, we'll have the classroom section at Grabow Outdoors, and then off you go. Where are you heading to do the shooting portion of the event?
We're taking the class out to FOP range in Pleasant Grove. We've been using them for most of our classes. It's a really nice range. We've got plenty of space. They've been really good about getting us in and off the ranges. It's a nice, safe place for us to shoot.
Okay, so here in the next few minutes, 9 o'clock, when Grabow Outdoors opens up, they can make the call to 205-314-8997. Just a couple of spaces remain, but this is a great opportunity this weekend. We're talking about gun safety, pistol safety in particular. Are there new aspects to this? Is there new information that's come out that people need to know about maybe in the last 10 or 15 years?
Well, there's always new firearms coming out.
Yeah.
Especially right now, the need for personal defense has been fairly strong.
Yeah.
All of the major makers are addressing that with slimmer, usually single-stack magazine weapons for personal carry. And it's, personal carry is a decision that you have to make yourself if you're going to do it. We recommend that you get some training.
Yes.
And you spend some time at the range training. And it's one of those things you have to commit to. If you're going to carry that gun for personal defense of yourself and your family, you really have to determine before you carry it that, yes, if I'm put in that place where I have to make that decision to defend myself, I'm going to use this.
I can pull the trigger.
Absolutely.
And, there's another thing. You got to step up your responsibility, too, right?
You
Because,
really do.
we had a story not too long ago where a lady had left her 22 mag automatic in her 5-year-old's backpack who made it to school. And I'm thinking, if that's not reckless endangerment, I don't know what is. And no charges were filed against the lady, but I was in support of somebody filing some charges because that's just, we don't need people running around with firearms that have no clue about how to deal with it. And that's the thing is that, that's how firearms end up in the wrong hands.
Yes.
People don't lock the truck. Oh, yeah, I got my 40 cal in there. Well, it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And somebody that's going to perpetrate a crime now has your 40 cal.
Well, it's just,
So-
people, if you want to leave your firearm in your vehicle, that's your decision. But
Sure.
if you do, please lock the doors.
Yeah.
I mean, you read the stories constantly about, car break-ins.
Yes.
And you figure 90 plus, I don't know what their statistics are, but a lot of them just aren't due to locking their doors. People
Yep.
just walk by, open the door, see what they want, take it, and go.
Yeah.
So they may have a gun safe at home,
Yes.
but in
Yeah.
their car they don't even lock the vehicle.
Yeah.
And then people break in.
It's kinda
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
kinda
It's like, I want to be personally protected, but here comes take my stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's just
Got to lock your truck, boys. I'll tell you. But you're going to cover that. This is a first step program, right? So I mean, this
Yes,
is
sir.
for people that are just coming into having that sort of feeling that they should get into this sort of thing, have a weapon on them, and be able to protect themselves and their family. And this is the best place to start. And that's this weekend. So you got a few seats available. You need to call Grabow's today and get that last few seats that are available.
Well, it's not only just a first steps approach, but just firearm safety is a continuing education. You can never train or never be too safe when it comes to a firearm because there's no reset. You can't do over. Once a trigger's pulled, you can't say, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's firearm safety is a lifestyle, and it's something that you live.
Mm-hmm.
It's same thing with, if you go to the doctor and you have surgery, well, when's the last time you've updated your certification, doctor? Well, I went to med school in '68, but I haven't been
Right.
back for any training.
That's a problem.
You expect
Yeah.
it all goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it
you want
really
everybody
does.
to be trained and comfortable with what they're doing.
If you have an accident, it doesn't matter if it's your first year of practicing or your 50th. That round is just as deadly, and
Absolutely.
you're responsible for every one that comes out.
Absolutely.
And one thing that we see a lot is experienced shooters, especially.
Yeah.
It's easy to be out on the range with your friends,
Sure.
beautiful day, enjoying the shooting, having a good time, and start to get a little cavalier with your
Little
firearms.
laxed.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's sometimes it's not good to be the buzzkill in the
Yeah,
group,
I know.
but sometimes you have to be the one that says, "Hey guys, look,
Yeah.
you're pointing your weapon in the wrong direction. Let's get it back down range and let everybody."
Or
be safe."
like a lot of, I'm sure you have huge pet peeves about this, but I do as well. I don't like people walking around got their fingers inside the guard. You know what I'm saying? And they're not preparing to shoot.
Right.
They're standing there with their weapon.
Absolutely.
Like you shouldn't have your finger inside that guard, and you shouldn't. I mean, I love to see when you're not actively shooting the breech. I like a breeched weapon. I mean, you can't fire a breeched weapon, right?
Right. When the magazine's out and that slides locked back like that,
Yeah.
that lets everybody know around
Everybody.
you. They can visibly see that gun is safe.
It
at
kinda
this point.
helps.
Which still doesn't, you still don't want to start waving it around and
No,
pointing
no,
in
no,
the direction,
no.
but
You
it
still
does
treat it-
visibly let everybody know.
Now, if I go to the event this weekend, are you going to show me how to hold a gun like a gangster, where you hold it up high and sideways? Is that how we do it? Is that,
Going for
Is that
the
what
kill
you do?
shot.
You go sideways way above your head like this.
Oh, no, sir. We won't be
That-
covering that. That's in
Come
the
on.
advanced class
Okay.
only.
That's advanced thug class. Hey, Jake, what's up, man?
Hey guys, what's going on? Hey Stinky. Hey, listen, I was just
that's
wondering.
me. Sorry.
I was just wondering, if I'm carrying a gun, and if I've got a concealed carry permit, I can stick it in the glove box or put it under my shirt or whatever. If I'm carrying a gun and I don't have a concealed permit, do I have to have the gun laying out so somebody can see it?
If you're carrying it in a vehicle and you don't have a concealed carry permit, they're
Right.
going to want the firearm in the trunk and the ammunition separate from it.
Okay, but what I'm asking though, the gun has to be to where if a cop comes up, he's got to be able to see it. It can't be concealed like in my glove box or on me somewhere. Correct?
Actually, they'd want it like it.
You can't
in
have
a
it in
trunk.
your car. The way I understand it too, right?
It has to be out of reach.
Yeah, you can't have it laying in the seat. That doesn't mean that it's not concealed.
It
If
can't be
it's-
your shotgun can't be riding shotgun, or your pistol
If
can't be
it's-
riding shotgun. Well, it's here.
Well, if it's in the
Yeah.
car, they consider it concealed.
Concealed,
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Even if it's visible.
Even if it's
That's
visible.
where I was going. I just didn't know that particular point, but carrying my shotgun and my deer rack in my truck perfectly fine. Is that?
Oh yeah. The
That's-
long guns don't apply to that.
Yeah, well, good. That's good. That's what you need, Steve. You could hit something with my pistol. You couldn't hit nothing with my pistol, but you could really wear it out with my shotgun.
Well, that's probably true.
Thanks, Jake.
All right.
We have a love-hate relationship. He loves to call, and I hate to hear from him. We're just getting Grabow Outdoors. It's a conversation. When it comes to the law, that is confusing, right? So
Yeah,
something
it's odd.
can be visible,
They
but
tried
still
to
be
change it, but it didn't
concealed.
get the votes in the
So,
legislature.
I mean, that's why you need someone who knows this stuff. You
Yes,
need some
you
help.
need to go
and,
talk to them
Right.
and understand. This First Step program coming up this weekend is perfect for you guys. So you need to give them a call starting 9 o'clock. Call Grabow's.
Yeah,
Get it
make
done.
that call, 205-314-8997. Grabow Outdoors in Fultondale, right off the interstate, I-65. You're looking for exit 265B. They're sitting up on the hill. Go by and see them today, whether it comes to guns, archery, fishing, apparel, whatever you're looking for. They've got it, Grabow Outdoors, and on the web, grabowoutdoors.com.
We got Grabow Outdoors in, David. I appreciate you being here and
Thanks for
bringing in
having
the
us.
fine folks. And you guys are looking good today. And we're talking about a seminar this weekend. You got the First Step program. First time owners, this is what you need.
Absolutely. This is where you want to start. Adults, if you have children that are interested in this, 10 and up, you
Yeah.
can bring them with you.
Okay.
Like I said, if you don't have your own firearms, we can work something out for you.
I'm
We've
glad
got
y'all
some
put an
pistols.
age limit there. 10 is, I guess that's a good, decent
Yes.
age. 10 and up.
It kind of depends on the 10-year-olds. You know,
You
we've,
better
we've
believe
had
it.
real mixed experience with kids. Some at 10 are great. Some don't hear anything you say.
And they're kind of there for observation, I assume. They're not there to handle a weapon and shoot it. Are
They
you gonna
will
let 'em?
probably get the chance to shoot off a bench rest.
Okay.
With a 22 is what we would do
I
for
gotcha.
them, and it would be very slow fire, and extremely controlled. But as long as they go through the class portion of it,
Okay.
and they seem to grasp that, and we can see them act safely in that portion of it.
And y'all
we
make
can
that
work with
judgment then during
Absolutely.
the class.
Yes.
So that's
Absolutely.
really cool. I
Now,
appreciate
let's
that.
talk a little bit when it comes to home protection about how to choose what firearm is best. Where do you start? What are some of the criteria that you're examining when it comes to making a proper decision as to what to purchase?
Well, when folks come in just generally and say, hey, I want to buy a firearm, the question we start asking is it something you want to carry with you?
Yeah.
If then we'll suggest something that's smaller, that's going to fit, that you're actually going to carry. If they say no, it's just for home defense, then we start getting into, are you looking at a handgun or shotgun?
Yeah.
There's kind of the big divides there.
Now, Robert, I like to wear hipster tight jeans, as you can imagine. Just
Rough visual. Rough
where
visual.
every little thing is shown. I mean, never mind. What I mean to say is, when I'm wearing my hipster jeans, I guess you need a smaller weapon, right? But if you got the big baggy cargo pants, I guess it comes different. I mean, what kind of thing plays into it? Is it the size of the person? Is it what they like to wear? Is it what movements they have? What kind of things are you considering?
All those are considerations,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's got to be something that's, if they've made the decision to carry, that it's going to be small enough that they will carry it consistently.
Right.
Yeah.
Like people our size could carry 10 gauge pistols. You know what I
be
mean?
fun.
It's like we're huge.
As a matter of fact, I got it right.
That's what I'm saying.
It's more of it's a lifestyle change too.
Yeah.
It depends. Are you wearing it outside the waist? Or are you wearing it inside the waistband? So if you're a size 40 in the waist and it's a snug 40,
Yeah.
and you want to carry it inside the waist, well then you're trying to compress another, inch and a half to 2 inches inside the waist. So I
Yeah.
don't like how this feels.
Sure.
It's uncomfortable, and you put the gun and you leave it at home. You don't carry it with you.
Right.
So it's something that Pete is well aware of, that whenever you're picking a weapon, so is Robert, that how you're going to carry it and the means you're going to carry it depends on what kind of clothing attire You gonna carry it in the summer with shorts? Am I gonna wear jeans all the
Right.
time? Am I gonna wear a long sleeve shirt untucked so it can hide the weapon? Leave my shirt unbuttoned to if I have to make a quick draw. Pull the the opening of the shirt back to grab it.
Yeah.
It just things of that nature that they're well versed in that you learn in the NRA class and in the gun safety class.
That is awesome.
I hadn't really thought about that. You bring something up that I'd like to know about. If you decide that you're going to carry a weapon and it becomes a change in your lifestyle, I guess you talk about carrying it consistently. So it's not a I think I'm going to need my gun today. It's this
It's
is
like
a part
putting
of
on your tie.
But okay.
Yeah.
Right.
You should feel naked without it.
Yeah.
One of you guys said before something about the concealed carry lifestyle or firearms lifestyle.
Sure.
And that's kind of what we look at it. And, as soon as you make that decision, things are going to change in your life. The way you dress, you may have to buy your pants a size bigger so that you can conceal that gun.
Yeah.
You may have to wear a bigger shirt. But what's going to happen is if you're committed to it and you're trained and you're carrying every day, your wardrobe is going to adapt. You're going to adapt the way you carry that gun. Holster selection is key. If you come out to Grabow's, we've got a huge selection of holsters.
Yeah.
Inside the waistband, outside the waistband, we've got leather. I build custom holsters for concealment,
Yeah.
hold the gun extremely close to the body, and they work extremely well. I carry
That's
a gun
what I need to
every
do.
day.
Because I recently bought me a shoulder harness, which I used to love because I used to have a 357 Colt Python. And I had this, the weapon.
Yeah.
That was a sweetheart.
Yeah.
But I could tote it really easily with my shoulder harness. And you couldn't see it. Now, I'm a big old boy. You know what I'm saying? Now, I realize you might not can pull that off. Jeff couldn't pull that off because, it's a big weapon. And I had a couple of speed loaders with it. But you couldn't see the thing. But I recently bought one, and I carry my SIG with it, and it doesn't fit the same way, and it doesn't feel the same way. So I don't like it. So now I'm forced to carry it on my side. Which is fine, but I always did like the shoulder harness. I was always more comfortable reaching for my weapon here than trying to reach around my fat body to get it here. You know what I'm saying? So I guess there's a lot of different avenues there.
There is, and everybody seems to have kind of a different idea of how and where they
Yeah.
want to carry. We don't really discourage that. If you have a specific way or a specific rig you want, we can work that out.
Yeah.
Most of us that end up carrying on a regular basis usually end up going inside the waistband in some way. Most of us carry on the hip or small of the back.
Yeah.
I tend to carry the firearm the same place, whether it's out on the range open or it's concealed, so that if I panic under stress, I'm going to reach to that same place every single time. It's
Yeah.
not, is it in the front, is it in the
Sure.
back, which gun is it? It's
Keep
the
it very
same place.
consistent.
Consistency across categories.
That's a great
yes, sir.
idea.
Now, what do you do? And we'll get to a call here. What do you do when it comes to like nervous tics or something? I can't wear a watch because if I have a watch on, I'm always looking at the watch. I don't even care what time it is. Like 700 times, I'm just always looking. Like I wonder if I had a gun.
You do feel for your gun a lot.
All the time, I'm touching
Yeah,
it.
when
Quit
you're
touching it.
touching
Touching it. Why are you touching it? Yeah.
Part of having a good concealment rig is one, a good sturdy gun belt, a belt that's made to support that
Sure.
gun and keep it sturdy so it's
Yeah.
not flopping.
Not floppy.
The holster is key and your dress is key. And that it builds a confidence. I know that gun is where it's supposed to be. Just because I sat down or stood up or moved, it didn't move.
Got it.
And you literally have to develop that ability to not be touching it and
Sure.
adjusting and making sure it's hid. If you've got that confidence, you
Yeah.
don't have to mess with it, but you don't want to show it.
Right.
Let's run here to Jim right quick. Hey, Jim.
Hey, just a suggestion. After listening to Russell's comment on ammunition and fashion and all this stuff, I'd like to suggest a weapon for him,
Okay, here we go.
a bodyguard.
That's why we got Jim.
That's right. That's why I'm here. Hey, I got one quick question, and this is something that really annoys me, and I'm sure it annoys you much more than me. But and you know the guy I'm talking about. It seems as though there are certain individuals, once they get that gun permit and they start carrying, suddenly they're the baddest boy on the block. You know what I mean? And I think that, my dad taught me always that, especially with the handgun, you don't ever pull it to intimidate. You pull it to, the first thing you want them to see is the muzzle flash. You don't want them to look at your weapon and try to back them down. It's literally a life or death decision once you reach for that weapon. Is that the way you guys kind of look at things? I mean, I
Absolutely.
don't think you pull your weapon to intimidate, right?
No.
No. The firearm is your very, very last
Last,
line of defense.
right.
I've tried to walk away, run away. I've
Right.
tried to talk my way out of it. Somebody
Right.
has put me in a position that they are not going to allow me to leave.
Sure.
And we start to talk about that a higher level of care.
Yeah.
When I get that firearm, my intention and the way I conduct myself has to be very controlled.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into a simple argument or a fisticuffs
Right.
with someone that could turn into that weapon getting out.
Absolutely.
And I have to do everything I can to avoid that confrontation,
Yeah.
whether I'm in the car or out walking around.
Well, see, that's the thing is I think that these classes are so important because the thing about having that weapon on you and that empowerment that you do feel, and that's a good thing, okay? But it's not an empowerment that you become more aggressive with your
No.
personality. It's actually the opposite. You become
More level-headed.
less aggressive with your personality.
Right. You can
And
escalate
you don't
to
let
that
things
level.
blow out of proportion. Somebody flicks you off in
Absolutely.
traffic. So what? That doesn't mean you drive by and say, "Hey, look at my gun. I'll shoot you." That's just nonsense, moronic behavior. And I have seen so much that it just irritates me. And these people shouldn't be carrying weapons that act that way.
Absolutely.
Because let me tell you, you're like me. If you banish your firearm and point it in my direction, I'm going to consider that my only option is to shoot you,
Yes.
right? So that moment of hesitation that you're going to use, like, well, I'm going to let you look at this and see if you don't get you a better idea about who I am and how bad I am. If you draw down on me with your weapon, I'm shooting mine, right? Isn't that the way it works?
You really don't have time to interpret what their intention is
All
beyond
you're
the fact
seeing
that they
is the
have the gun
barrel.
pointed
Yes.
at you.
That's all that
Absolutely.
matters, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's a very dangerous thing that people need to be, and that's why these classes are so important. People need to know these things before they just run out and buy a weapon and start running around with it, right?
Yes. Amen.
We had
So-
a customer yesterday that was looking at a gun because I don't want it because I don't want it to kill anyone. I just want to scare them.
Okay, that's crazy.
You don't need a firearm.
You need a rock.
A
Big
lightsaber.
We'll be right back. We got a quick break. We're going to take it, and then we'll be back with Grabow. Ooh, that's right, 8:48 in the morning. We're glad to be here. Grabow's in the studio, so we're having some fun. We're talking guns, gun safety. Got a great NRA First Step pistol orientation this weekend at Grabow.
Yes. Come out and join us. We got a few spots left. So whether you're a newbie and want to get your first gun, or you've had a gun for years and you just want to bring
Brush
your
up.
wife, your kids, or
Yeah.
expose someone who may be anti-gun, bring them in to see what the real side of firearm safety and gun ownership is about. I mean, there's Hollywood, there's what you read on the streets and what people tell you, but then there's from a certified instructor's point of view.
Yes.
And it's a night and day difference.
Can I ask a question that maybe I shouldn't ask, but I can't help it, and I'm curious.
Here it
Okay.
goes.
Womp womp.
Here it is.
Okay. So we were talking about a Saline Mustang
Yes.
this morning with 700 horsepower, right? Now, we all know the speed limit, but if you have that car, you want to use it, right? You're paying for it.
Amen.
Here's what I want to know about the pistol. And I know you're going to give me the right answer. That's why I'm asking. But if you get the pistol and you
Yeah.
go through this training and you've invested the money and you've got it, how do you
Not want to shoot somebody.
now? Thank you.
I do have that challenge myself.
You know what I'm saying? Like I know that's wrong thinking.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
how do you not want to do that? How do you overcome that urge? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's part of what the class is going to is instill into you that a gun's not a toy,
Yeah.
and
You got to be an adult.
yeah, and
You know,
hopefully,
that's the key, isn't it?
yeah, the class isn't just going to be a lecture, and when you come to buy a gun from us, it's not one-sided. It's a conversation,
Yeah.
back and forth, and through that process, we're going to let you know. Here's what guns are serious business,
Yeah.
and here's what we expect.
I mean, because last time you were here, we were talking martial arts, and I mean, like the first thing they tell you is this is for defense and not for offense. I want to kick somebody in the face. If you're going to teach me how to kick somebody, I want to kick somebody in the face. So I just want to know.
Let's go shoot somebody.
I just want to shoot somebody, Jim. I just want to do it.
Is that bad of me?
Is that wrong?
No, I think I can teach you why you shouldn't pull the gun
Okay.
until that last second,
Yeah.
unless it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
I don't think I can teach you not to want to.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a personal decision.
Absolutely.
But like Robert said, it's about responsibility, and it's the same thing with karate. Just because I know that I can kick that person,
But
doesn't
do you
mean-
ever want to? Do you ever just want
Well,
Of course
that-
he
yeah,
wants
you
to.
know,
What kind of
That's one of those things.
Lead the
but,
vet, lead the
yeah,
vet.
Absolutely.
You just want to light them up.
So many of them. Jeez, so little time.
But no, like I just think when it comes to guns, obviously you hope you go your whole life and never need it. But I guess it's kind of like when you get life insurance. You know, like at some point, at the end of your life, or at the end of that 30-year term, it's like, well, dang, I had the protection, but I
Well-
never got to cash
Well,
it
the
in.
good thing, and these guys will tell you, I mean, the great thing about having a weapon, a handgun, is you do go shoot it.
Right.
You're required to shoot the weapon to be comfortable with it.
Sure.
So there is fun in shooting the weapon.
There are outlets. I mean,
Yeah.
you have all sorts of groups out there. If you're into cowboy action, there are groups that shoot those.
Yeah, and to that
Yeah.
point, I do have a big Russell cutout that I shoot all the time.
I'm sure that you do.
Yeah, I've got this big Russell face that I just plaster with 40 cals on a regular basis.
That's
But
wonderful, Jim.
you and Saddam, they're both
Thank you.
out there.
Not
Those targets are now available at Grabow.
Shut your face.
limited edition.
No, but I think, being able to take your weapon out to the range and shoot it quite regularly kind of, it makes you real comfortable with your weapon because different weapons shoot differently. And you guys cover all that this weekend. And, a lot of the automatics, the Glocks, I see you're a big Glock fan, aren't you? And
Yes, sir.
so I shot Glocks, didn't really care for it. I ended up buying a SIG because it's a lot heavier in my hand. It fit my hand much better. And it didn't get as happy as the Glock did once the clip got low. You know what I mean?
Yep.
'Cause if you got 10 in the clip, it's a heavy weapon, and as you shoot it, it's emptying those rounds, and it gets light.
One of the things that we talk about constantly with our shooting is that it's a perishable skill. If you don't get out there and
Oh,
practice,
absolutely.
you're not going to be proficient.
Yeah.
Well, and just from a single action versus a double action point of view, it's
Right.
qualifying what your needs are and just
Yeah.
explaining the difference so they understand.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of the revolver. I've got a few revolvers, but my SIG, of course, is automatic. Is a revolver sometimes a really good fit for? And I know revolvers people look down on them all the time, like the old 38 snub noses that every cop in the world carried in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Those just are viewed upon as like, it's not got enough knockdown, and it. How many people have had issues when they're shot with 38s? I think every one of them have major issues.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's a good choice for someone to just get a revolver, even if it's a single action revolver.
It can be. We try to get every person kind of in line with what their capabilities are and
Yeah.
what they're going to be able to shoot. A revolver is simpler in nature.
Yes.
There's less moving parts. It's going to take less time to become proficient with it. Now, you're still going to want to train with it.
Right.
But it's easier to learn to operate. And a lot of times, if it's going to be somebody, and, we're talking to them, they're kind of leaning towards, well, I'm not going to do a lot of training. I just want something quick that I can have.
Yeah.
A revolver is easier to learn.
Sure.
The downfall for me on a revolver generally is capacity.
Right. Yeah, sure.
I mean,
You
if you
got
can learn to
6
shoot,
rounds.
you can shoot anything, but I run out of ammo fast.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you guys being here. I want to encourage you guys, give them a call today. NRA First Step Pistol Orientation class this weekend at Grabow. Give them a call today. Sign up. Thanks for coming by, guys.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks for having us.
Good
Good
to
to
see
see
you.
you, man.
You gotta be lost to be found. Who the devil spent